I was at camp. I was probably 30 miles away from like the Kerrville Hunt area where it hit really hard. My parents had gone to stay with my sister who lived there at the time, and they were going to pick me up the next day. And one of the camp directors came and woke me up, and they said, "Hey, Keller, come outside." And of course, my first thought is, oh crap, I swear I didn't do it. You know, it wasn't me. We go outside, and he kind of had briefly explained the situation, like, hey, there's been a lot of flooding in Kerrville, and I knew that my sister's house where everybody was staying was right there on the river. But I was like, okay, it's not that bad. You know, we get a flood every 6 months. I grew up in this town. Like, really, it can't be that bad. So I took the phone, and she was like, hey, Keller, this is getting really bad. We don't know if we're going to get out. I was like, at first, it kind of took a second to register. And I was like, okay, maybe mom's just being dramatic. This house is probably 100 feet away from the water. It can't have come out that far. Then my dad took over the phone. I said, hey, Dad, what's it like out there? And he said, son, this is bad. And that's when I got scared, because I was like, oh gosh, if my dad's scared, then this probably isn't good. I talked to them for a little bit, and they told me they loved me, and then they hung up the phone to save battery because they were only on 30% and didn't know how much longer they were going to be trapped. So for the next 2.5 hours, it was just anxious waiting. I didn't know if they were going to be okay. I didn't know if they were going to get out. All I knew is that they were stuck on the second floor of the house. Water was coming up the stairs. The house next to them had gotten washed away, and water was just beating against the house. I sat there with one of the camp directors and one of my counselors that I had, and we just sat there and we prayed and we prayed. And I honestly, I don't understand how I felt so at ease. I think that was the work of the Lord that just gave me a certain amount of peace in that moment, that I knew he was going to take care of them. After about 2 hours, we finally got the call. The water had dropped enough and they could get down the stairs and out of the house, and they had, made it safely to higher ground. But it was definitely a scary time. A lot of people around them that were even higher up didn't make it out. And it's just honestly a miracle that they're all alive. It definitely taught me the power of prayer. I don't know if I've ever fully trusted in God answering prayers, especially instant like that. And after that, it definitely taught me a lot about the power of prayer, and that God does answer prayers and he does intervene for his people. I think only God could have allowed the timing to work out the way it did. There was a basement in the house, and they could hear the water going in that. The water flooding into that basement first gave them enough time to, wake up my sister and get my niece and my brother-in-law and all them, and they got upstairs just in the nick of time. And that was a God thing. Because like I said, that was such a scary situation. And when I got that call that they were okay and that they made it out, that just blew me away. I was so happy because, I had always prayed before, but I've never prayed that fervently, I guess. And seeing God answer that prayer in real time definitely changed my view on that. Every time I go see my sister, I pick up my niece and I hold her. I'm like that. God did that.